Quiet on set. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Let's Poddy podcast with your host, Benji Weatherly. It's the podcast where you learn absolutely nothing.
Looking for a new way to elevate your look? Let's Poddy's newest sponsor, Ponto Footwear, makes the perfect addition to your wardrobe. Their Pacific Dress sneaker is responsibly made with recycled materials. And with its water-resistant and slip-resistant design, you'll be ready for anything. Use our code PODDY15 for 15% off on your order at pontofootwear.com. Cool. All right, let's Poddy. So this is season 2, episode whatever. I just like to say that to sound cool. I have SD local from OB. OG never left. Actually, he just moved a little bit further up the road to the nicer homes. But nothing wrong with moving on up like the Jeffersons. Yeah, we got Miles Doughty. And hopefully Doughty is my mom's last name, and we might be related. We're half cousins or something.
It's actually honestly pretty crazy. It's geeking my brain out right now.
Yeah.
Like after you just said that, it's pretty cool. That'd be pretty rad.
Yeah. So got Miles Doughty. And yeah, I'm excited. This isn't a music podcast, but it seems like it at this point. I've had all great musicians, and everybody else is just kind of this podcast is about absolutely nothing. That's what the tagline is when you'll hear it. And all I want to do is just start the conversation with saying, like, I appreciate you being on. And I got a place in Bay Park down in San Diego. Luckily, it's close to everything. And now I've realized it's close to this guy right here. So let's start with, what was OB like in 1970? See, he's exactly my age. So 76 or 77 you're born?
77, yeah.
77, OB. When did the first time you go down the ocean and go, why is that right breaking next to that jetty so well?
I mean, honestly, we grew up in what's cool is I grew up right across the street from Kyle and his parents.
Tell people who Kyle is, because I researched you last night. It's the second, you guys.
Yeah, me and Kyle started the band. Yeah, we're 1 and 2 years old. We started the band together in high school. What's his last name? Kyle McDonald. Mm-hmm. We always call each other brothers from other mothers, just because literally he was like, one of my first, homies and best friend my whole life pretty much. And what's cool is I've been in a band with him too more than half our lives, and it's like most people don't see their family as much as I see him, you know what I mean? And we've been on the road forever, and this is our 29th year in Slightly Stoopid. It's pretty
Does
pretty
he live
crazy.
Up next to you up in the
Yeah, he lives pretty close, about 6 or 7 blocks away.
Oh, and does he have kids as well?
Yeah, he's got 2 boys. I got 3 girls.
That must have been a trip when you guys have a little playtime. You're like, hey, would you stop beating up on the girls? I had some most beautiful girls. You just showed me a photo of 14, 10, and
turning 14, 11, and 6.
All girls, man. That is probably one of the best things for a man to have is just girls, because then he takes away his ego, goes right out the door, and he's just a piece of meat that they just kick around, and you just become just a loving creature. It seems like all my friends that have just girls are perfect human beings now.
I mean, honestly, I love it. It's every dad, you want a son when you first think about having kids, and then once you have daughters, you realize just how amazing they are, and there's like nothing like a love of a dad and the daughter and all that stuff. It's really cool, and it keeps you. First of all, you're so overwhelmed. You got 3 girls, you got a wife, you got 2 girl dogs, you had 4 chickens, and it's like it's just kind of like it's a cool experience, and watching them grow up, they turn into young women so fast, and it's such a trip. And my oldest is almost 5'8", and she's turning 14. You're like, oh my God.
Do you have like a bathroom outside that you get to use? Or
actually, yes, I do. There's a garage bathroom that I leave a toothbrush and toothpaste in. I go out. It's just easier for me.
Oh my God. I'm sure the girls are in there every minute of the day and like going, get out, Dad. I'm doing my hair. They're going to be running your life for real.
It's amazing though. In all honesty, it's great. And, I've had such a cool life playing music. It's nice to come home to, such a normal, rad, dad, father, husband kind of life. It's pretty cool.
Did they travel with you at all when they were little kids?
Not really. They just do like the West Coast shows. life on the road is not really family orientated. You know what I mean? It's like living out of a suitcase every day, and you're on a tour schedule. Like we get a day sheet every day, and when you have 3 kids and a family, it's not easy to follow that day sheet and be, in a different city 500 miles away.
Yeah, and it's not very safe for little children to be running around Slightly Stoopid concerts.
Yeah, I mean, it gets a little wild backstage, and we party pretty hard still, and like I said, it's easier for them to go to the West Coast shows. Every now and then they'll make some appearances in random places, but for the most part, no.
They'll be hitting you up so hard when they're 18 to 20 for tickets. They're going to be like, Dad, I want 3 VIPs for the girls. That's going to be fun times, though.
Yeah, it's going to get crazy when they're like of drinking age and kind of chilling. It's going to get a little wild.
You're going to have to give them away. You're going to have to give 3 girls away. That's, as a pops, it's like exciting and kind of scary at the same time.
Honestly, I
can't think about it yet.
I kind of tell myself the worst scenarios just because in your brain it's so hard to like, you guys and you just want them to really just respect themselves so they don't get, caught up in the belief of what some idiot kid is going to tell them. And I have good girls. Smart, their mom raised them well, and they're smart. So I think that's the best thing because I honestly don't know how I'm going to handle it. Like, hey, Dad, this is my boyfriend. It's like,
get out of here. Oh, my God, that's going to be fun. How'd you guys come up with Slightly Stoopid? What was that name? Was it just because you guys thought it was a silly little name, or is there something behind it?
Yeah, there's nothing really behind it. What was funny is we were trying to figure out, we were like 15, 16 at the time in high school, and we were trying to...
tell us that story. Like, so you guys surf together.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to jump, but when you guys are 1 and 2, you guys meet your neighbors probably? Was that where you guys live
across
right
the
now?
street, yeah.
And when did you guys start skateboarding? And then you're like, hey, maybe we should mess around in the ocean. When did you guys start surfing and stuff?
I think at first we were like basically just boogie boarding all the time.
Right out front of OB.
Yeah, just bodyboarding more. Like it was just, we'd go out with Kyle's dad because Kyle's dad was part of this surf crew of old school Ocean
OB.
Beach surfers and just a badass group of guys. And me and Kyle would go, bodyboard on, we go down on K38s, 39s with them and be huge. And me and him would be on bodyboards, and which makes it look even bigger. You know what I mean? Yeah. And just from there, it kind of gravitated to surfing. And honestly, as I've gotten older, I barely even surf. I go to take my kids and watch them surf. And because I have a young one, she'll be on the beach. So,
the girls surf?
Mm-hmm.
Real?
My middle and my older do.
Oh, they're ahead of the game then.
Yeah, they're having fun. They're not like, they don't do anything crazy, and they're pretty mellow, but I just love that they're in the water. That's the first step.
Don't you think like just a teenage girl, if they go surfing, how cool they look to everybody? They're like, these girls got their stuff together. I mean, not when my little niece goes surfing with her girlfriends in Hawaii, I'm like, those girls are doing so much better than the girls in Cali at the mall and like worried about boys and stuff. They're just out there catching waves. It's such a soulful thing for a daughter, like a little girl to do.
Yeah, and they love the beach, and that's what, to me, that I grew up on that beach, and I didn't come home till dark every day, like as a kid, and it's maybe not as safe as it was when I was a kid, but as far as like I want them to have that culture, and they love it, and my oldest is starting to go with her friends now by herself, and
that's cool. She's about to get her license in a couple of years.
I know, dude. What's funny, I think at 14 you're allowed to drive the golf cart, and we have one, and she was like, Dad, at 14 I can drive the golf cart.
Oh, that's so cool.
Like, oh, great, here we go.
I love it. So what's your guys' plans after when you guys started? Sorry, I'm jumping again. All this coffee. So your guys are starting boogie board and all that stuff. And when did you guys pick up a guitar? And he's the bass and your guitar, right?
Yeah, we play both. Yeah, we go back and forth. I think we were like 12, right around there when we started playing. And we were honestly, like, we were huge fans of like Motley Crue and all these hair metal bands, and just we were watching videos going, God, that would be so dope, and not knowing.
So you're doing covers of like
that was just inspired us to want to start a band. And like we were more of like a punk rock band when we first started, kind of like with the Minor Threat, kind of Operation Ivy influence, Rancid, No Effects, all those kind of bands, Bad Religion.
Yeah, you can kind of see a lot of your guys' influences in your music for sure.
And like we still play punk rock live now, but the shows are so big. Like we play so many like mellow songs that people, they want to be there to dance and have a great time, but we have to mix in a couple punk songs just because like it kind of it ignites. No, we'll play we've been doing Territorial Pissings by Nirvana.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
it's super dope.
You throw a Descendants in there every once in a while?
No, but honestly, what's crazy is I just saw them with No Effects at
Saw that poster
Waterfront,
the other day.
and man, it just brought back so many childhood memories because I grew up listening to them, and I hadn't played it in forever. You know what I mean? And then I literally, because I don't have a CD player anymore, I downloaded all these things and just started bumping Descendants again, and it's really cool. And there should be, honestly, because those are another like godfathers of punk rock that are just so
how old
badass.
is Milo now? Probably in late 50s?
I mean, he's got to be in his 50s. If I'm 46, I was listening to him when I was a kid.
He's got to be like late 50s. Yeah, he was a professor, right?
I mean, same with like Fat Mike. He's got to be got to be mid 50s.
Yeah, because they were big in the late 80s, early 90s. So yeah, they've been around for a minute.
Greg
was that a cool
Graffin.
concert? I heard that lineup was incredible.
Dude, they were so, Descendants sounded so good. And No Effects always sounds great, man. They're just a great band. And the crowd, there was like 10,000 people, like 5 different pits going. I was literally like, I had all these killer videos I was sending to my boys because I don't have a lot of friends that'll go to punk rock shows with me. Yeah. Even though I have musician buddies, but none of my core group of friends really are like punk rockers. So I was like, hey boys, what's going on? No.
That's so cool to see the Descendants. One of my favorite bands.
Yeah, they were great, man.
I actually saw them. I live right here in Marina Boulevard. Remember Soma was down there?
Oh, for sure.
I'm really good friends with Tom DeLong, and we were driving down Marina Boulevard, and remember that just passed?
Oh, yeah.
And he was driving the bus I was in, and he goes, and we were driving by, and he goes, look, it's Milo. And Milo was walking from like somewhere way down in Bay Park all the way, and he wasn't going to Soma, but he played the next night, and he was just walking, just cruising by himself. And I was the biggest fan of that band, but I didn't know what he looked like. You know, when you're a kid, you're just like, he had his glasses, and he was just walking by himself on Marina Boulevard. And I was like, hey, that's Milo. And then he starts telling us the story, and we're like, that can't really be him. Why would he be walking in the middle of nowhere? And we find out later he was going to the college to do a speech. We're like, what? This guy was walking down the sketchiest road in the middle of the day and going to a seminar to like talk to these kids. And I'm like, what a legend.
That's rad.
Such a cool story. But passing was such a devastating thing for the San Diego music culture.
Oh, for sure, man.
He was a legend. We actually had my family owned STV. Do you remember that show? You're one of the people that might have seen it back in the early 90s. It was a surf, skate, snow TV show.
I probably did. I probably did for sure.
All those guys.
Dude, Sprung Monkey. I just ran into Steve. I haven't seen him in years.
Are you still playing? Or
I didn't see him he was literally at the festa that I was just at, the Portuguese festa. He was just walking down the street, and I was like, Steve?
Does he still have long hair?
Yeah. He's just a little grayer.
Oh, man, that band was so big for San Diego, and they just never really left.
We toured with them a few times when we were younger.
They were cool.
Just great guys in general. And they had... what was their big song that was out?
Good Times.
Yeah.
Remember that one? They made it for Taylor Steele's movie Good Times, and it was one of their best songs ever. It was on the boardwalk, their video. Remember Mission Beach? Oh, yeah. They're all raging on the boardwalk. Yeah.
Those guys were great, man. It's crazy how just, so many great bands never, either they don't keep it going or they're never able to get to, because they were a great band,
They were incredible. They were kind of like Tool. Like they had a little bit of that really hard sound, but then they also had that punk. So it was like they had the one of a kind sound for sure. But yeah, let's say this. When you guys started touring, when you guys were 15, you guys pick up guitars. When did you guys write pen to paper one of your first songs? And when did you call it Slightly Stoopid? Right out of the gates?
Right out of the gates, we didn't even we were literally just practicing going, damn, what can we call this band? And I honestly, we still don't really remember exactly what happened, but someone was saying something with Slightly and someone's saying something with another. And I think my drummer was like, that's stupid. And like somehow it became like Slightly Stoopid and we spelled it with 2 O's instead of the U. That's funny. And now honestly, what's funny after being in the band, I can't even spell stupid without it being 2 O's, and my kids even spell it like that. And it's like, you're just like, it's embedded in the brain. It looks stupid when you spell it with a U.
It just, you know what's cool about names is everyone thinks it's so important. At the end of the day, the music is, if it's undeniable, you'll like some of my favorite bands, they don't even know what the hell they mean. Like Sprung Monkey, for one, is insane. That's a funny name.
Sure.
But yeah, your guys, you've been around so long and you have such undeniable music that you don't even think of it being a silly name anymore. It's just, of course, that's Slightly Stoopid.
Well, what's cool is back in the day, like you'd always be like, oh, it was those Slightly guys or those Stupid guys, because we were always kind of like the time bomb of everywhere we went. Like we were that crazy group of guys that came in, went nuts, partied, and left. Like a little.
Yeah,
basically like a contained hurricane.
The Tasmanian devil.
Yeah, basically, and that's how kind of people would remember. Oh man, those Slightly guys were nuts, or like those Stupid guys. And then as you got older, it's kind of funny because when you've been in the band so long, and you'll be sitting on a plane with someone, and like maybe some older person that, well, what do you do? I'm a musician, and you tell them, and they start to laugh, and this is like. I was probably like in my early 40s. I'm still in my mid 40s, but like earlier in my 40s, just sitting in a plane and telling some older person, and they start laughing, and I start laughing, going, I know, like I'm an adult, like Slightly Stoopid. It just sounds funny, and honestly, it's been rad though.
My God,
someone I grew up with as a brother, been in a band our whole lives together, and it's. You
guys lived your dream.
It's crazy.
You can't even say that about too many things in the world. I mean, you guys, I got to ride waves for a living, and that already, if I tell someone on the plane that they think I'm in Slightly Stoopid, they're like, "What the hell? You say you ride waves for a living? That's silly." But you literally have a rock star life, and it came from just you and your best friend messing around. It's a dream. It's such a cool story.
Yeah, man. It's in all honesty, we kind of pinch ourselves and talk about it, just going how lucky. Just we're still headlining these massive rooms, and fan base. We have such an organic fan base. That's what's rad. Like
totally,
you built this stuff like pre-internet when you were flyering towns with a street team. You'd send them a box of flyers, and they'd go paper everything, and that that core fan base started out as basically 10 people to 20 to 40 to 8, and it kept building and building, and now what you have at these shows are people that have been coming for 20 years, and they are also bringing their kids. So it's rad. Like there's such an eclectic mix of fan base at the show. You'll see people with like babies, and you'll see 70-year-olds out there raging. That's so cool. And it's, we call them, like, a lot of the fan base are like the stupid heads. A lot of parallels with the, the deadheads, and we've got to jam with Bob Weir and in his studio and on stage, which is
so big time.
Every time is incredible, because Kyle said it best. There was some funny moment. We're at his studio up in San Rafael, and Kyle's like, when you look at Bob Weir, it's like staring into a galaxy, like into his eyes, because
it's Bob Weir.
He's done so many, drugs and experienced.
He looks so cool at his age, with that mustache and his beard. So I'm going to introduce my co-host and everyone. This is Annie Graziano. She's going to ask. She always asks questions that are way more intellect and everything. So it's great. But do you know who Bob Weir is? The one where everyone would take acid and trip out on vans and go around the world.
I feel like that's a lot of bands.
Okay. He's the lead singer of Grateful Dead.
Oh, okay.
Right? And they got to play with him at his studio. So I actually saw that YouTube clip last night, and what an honor, huh?
Yeah, it was pretty nuts. And then the day we were in there, Prince died.
Oh, wow.
And we had Angelo Moore up there from Fishbone with us as well.
Jeez.
And
where's this at?
It's in Northern California.
Northern California.
And TRI Studios is what it's called. And we were in there, that we pulled up the day Prince died. So we learned Purple Rain on the spot with Bob, us, Angelo, and it was like magical. In all honesty, like
who sang it?
Angelo Moore. He's an incredible singer from Fishbone.
I gotta hear that.
Yeah,
Bob Weir's jamming in.
Yeah, Bob Weir, and we basically just figured out a way that in the key that we wanted to play it in, and rolled and did something magical that day. And every time you're in TRI anyway, like the whole experience is
every
ridiculous.
Gnarly band has been in that place. Probably,
it's incredible. Like the vibes in there, the sound is so great. And but yeah, that was a cool experience. Unfortunately, it happened to be on the day Prince died. But
cool way to tribute, though.
Yeah.
Jeez. So you had any questions there, Annie? Now that you know that Bob Weir is from the Grateful Dead.
I have to get lower to the mic. But yeah, of course I have questions.
All right.
Let's see. Okay, my biggest question, honestly, because I feel like I've seen a lot of people talking about how kind of the music industry and a lot of industries right now are changing like so fast, and you've been in the industry so deeply for so long. What's like the biggest change that you feel like you've seen?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, we've toured the whole time, but in all honesty, like the way, back then we would fill up our car with a bunch of CDs and sell them at the shows. That's how you kind of paid for all the extra stuff. Once the internet kind of opened up, it really just gave you the ability to reach fans that it was almost impossible for you to reach if you weren't mainstream. When the whole Napster thing kind of happened, I don't remember what year that was, but it helped us bridge the gap from like Colorado east. Like we were never able to really get past Colorado.
Right.
Like we kept touring to all these places, but
So it kind of helped you guys.
it
Napster.
did. Yeah, it did. But all the big bands at the time were growling at everything, but all those big bands were the only bands that could really succeed. So for them, like they were already at the highest success they were ever going to be, and like they've already made so much money off the machine, where all the bands that don't have the same avenues available to them, that opened it up. And I have no problem with it. Wherever your music can get to people, I'm fine with it. I don't care. Like, because to me, being on the road is where where all the magic is. You know what I mean? You get the energy from the crowd. Once you're on the stage, it's like the greatest drug in the world. There's nothing that, when the crowd is like engaging with everything you're doing and they're singing back the songs, you're just like,
yeah, that's gotta be a trip.
It's rad, and if you haven't, you can be there and be like, wow, that was cool. But when you experience it, it's just like, God, man, this is the greatest job in the world. Like there's nothing, your whole soul just like fills up with this energy, and it's rad. And then you look over and you're on stage with all your bros. And,
oh my God.
It's like a great thing. And to me, like having those, that open, that basically once the internet kind of surged is when it gave all these bands the ability to kind of reach the masses. And it's not like all of a sudden the shows were packed. You know what I mean? It just gave you that ability. You'd go to the East Coast and there might be 5 people there. But then those 5 people tell 5 of their friends and they bring buddies and there's 15 people there. You know what I mean? Or whatever. And that's how you had to do it. And we weren't scared of the grind either. Like back then we were grinding our asses off. We were sleeping in the van, people's floors. You'd make just enough money to pay for gas and maybe some Taco Bell and get to the next town, and there'd be no one there, and you'd start to play your hour set to get your $75, and that's what people, today I feel like the one thing about the digital era is I feel like some of the musicians are just a little lazier. Like they try to do it all through the internet as opposed to the grind of the road. Like that's the stuff that is in the memory banks of the greatest adventures of your life. Like the stuff that me and Kyle and some of the guys used to do, it's just, you'll never forget it for the rest of your life. It's just moments of time that you shouldn't even be alive sometimes, of the way we used to tour. And yeah, I don't know. I've always embraced it kind of.
The feeling that you probably get, which me and Annie have never had because we have never written songs, but is like seeing someone in the crowd singing your lyrics must be one of the craziest things. Like this person not only likes the song, but memorized it and sings with you. It always gives me a rush, and I'm not even a musician, to think like this is something you wrote on paper. You jam with your friends, just joking around, and then you're like, this is kind of catchy. And next thing you know, thousands of people are cheering and singing along. It's got to be the best feeling.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And not only that, like you'll get messages from people about how like your music, they were going through times in their life where like your music elevated them back to where they needed to be. And that's the stuff that means so much,
Everything,
you know what I mean? Because it means that, what you're talking about, the vibes of what you're putting out is affecting people a certain way. And we've been a party band our whole life, and we get deep with some things and some songs, but for the most part, we're just trying to give people a good energy and take them to a place that they leave the show going, that was fucking rad.
I watched Black Keys do their process, because when you're a layman like us, I've been around musicians my whole life, luckily, and the process of writing a song is always different. and it seems like Black Keys got it the best because the drummer starts everything. He gives them the beat, and then he jams with them, and they create music. Did you guys have a process with you and Kyle where you guys would always jam together and write stuff down, or was it the drummer helping, or how did you guys start writing a song?
I mean, in the beginning, I think it was everything together, all of us just kind of working with stuff and vibing off different, rhythms.
Like a drum beat helps, though.
Oh, of course.
Right?
Drums
Doesn't it
always
seem like it starts with the kind of the drum and the bass?
Well, drum and bass are the foundation of it all.
But you got to tell us. I'm just asking.
I
don't fucking know. I'm like, is that how it works?
Yeah,
you know, start a band later.
Yeah, drum and bass are always the foundation of anything, especially in the studio now. Like, it's so much better, just like if your drummer's there to be able to mess around and create some sort of, melody, rhythm.
What was the first
bridges.
song you guys wrote?
Oh, God, I don't even... I should have
and
thought
you're
about
a
that one.
15-year-old kid at this point when you wrote down the first one? Or was it a little older?
About 15. I mean, we wrote songs before, like acoustic songs on the side before we were even Slightly Stoopid, you know what I mean? Before we had that. But in the band, God, I don't know, maybe Questionable. Zero Tolerance was one of the first songs. There's a song called Don't Fucking Look. That was
I like the names of these songs. They're so fun.
It was just like punk rock songs, because back then you were just.
What's the biggest hit you guys have ever had? What's the name of that one? Like that Collie one's really big, yeah.
Collie Man, 2 a.m. 2 a.m. is probably the most recognizable because of the horn line intro. Closer to the Sun is a big song. Closer to the Sun.
Did you guys write those together, you and Kyle?
No, separately.
Or separately?
Those three songs are probably our biggest songs of all time. And like Officers up there, Wise Man, those kind of jams. 2 a.m. though, like the horn line, you play it, the crowd erupts every time. And then the song Closer to the Sun that Kyle wrote is like, we do a killer, rendition of it live with the light show and video walls. And it's like a closer of a show almost all the time because it's such a beautiful song and the whole crowd lights up their phones or lighters, and it's just, you'll have 10,000 people, and it'll look like there's like a blanket over them with lighters, and it's really cool. And what's rad is we everything's independent. We own everything.
That is cool.
We own every record, but everything you need, we have 50% of it.
Is that one of your very first ones?
Everything you need is like 2003 when we were kind of transitioning, basically trying to take that next step,
So you guys did what Jack Johnson did, bought the label. I mean, started a label on the rights license and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's for us, especially the way we tour and everything. And we still sell hard copies of music, so our fans,
What do you buy hard music? What is that now? A CD still?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we still print them.
Rad.
We still sell them at shows. We still put them at stores where that'll take them, and then obviously people download and.
It's tough not having an album nowadays to look at. Like when we were kids.
I know you opened up the booklet. Oh, man. That was the biggest thing. Like you'd wait in line at Tower Records for Use Your Illusion 1 and 2. You know what I mean?
It didn't matter how corny the photo was. You just loved seeing a band standing together.
Yeah,
there's something about it. Like we always make when we do shoot ad campaigns and stuff, and we'd always do our faux band like stand apart on a mountain, and it was just one of those things. Like when you love Led Zeppelin, you're like, dude, look at these guys standing in England on a mountain. That shit's dope.
I know, right? But basically, and we're not like a press photo band kind of. We just
dude, you guys are so. I hate to interrupt you again, but you guys are so. I guess. Kind of like shadow ghost with you guys. I've always heard your music. I had no idea what you guys look like. This is a kind of funny story. I met him last year at a golf tournament, and we played in the same group for fucking, sorry to cuss, but I don't know, 10 or 12 holes. And finally someone's like, that's the guy from Slightly Stoopid, right? And I'm like, I had no fucking clue. I had no clue. Then I see him again just a couple weeks ago, and I didn't even recognize him. He's so you're just so mellow, and you just kind of flow with everything. And you guys aren't one of those bands that it's like Motley Crue. You knew fucking Vince Neil's face like back of your hand.
For sure.
And with you guys, it's kind of cool because you guys can do whatever you want. You can walk into a place And if someone goes, it's Miles from Slightly Stoopid, they're like, what? But if they don't say anything, you're just chilling with a beer in the back, like, what's up, guys? And he's so mellow, and I dig that about your fame. Is
I like
you can
that.
just
We like it like that. Though.
dude, you're from OB, so you know how to just chill.
Yeah, I mean, what's good is we've kind of shielded ourselves in a way. Like, we don't do a lot of videos. We don't do a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
It's just we love to play live music. We've kind of, like, we're not actors. We're musicians. There's a lot of musicians that can also just be on camera all the time and have the perfect things to say and perfect way to be that person, but that's just not who we are. We like to kind of just
be
do
normal
our thing.
kids
and,
from
yeah.
San Diego. I mean he wears
is,
surf clothes every time I see you.
Yeah.
It's rad. In all his videos, he's got like Billabong and stuff, and you're just who you were your whole life. You never
and
changed.
this is, I would literally walk on stage just like this.
So
and
dope.
it's not,
You and Jack Johnson have a lot in common. I mean, he's one of my best friends growing up next door to him and everything. And he really wears the same T-shirts and shorts, and he drives the same car. Like, the guy never changed, and his life is so good because of it. And he has 3 kids too.
Yeah.
And you guys just have your chips in the right place. It's not about your ego. Like, there's zero ego with you guys. I love that part. And it must resonate with your crowd, because your crowd's all just normal cruiser guys that hang at the beach and hang out. And that's kind of what your music's all about.
Our fan base, honestly, is amazing. Like, the shows, you know, there's never just chaos
they're all
and
nice.
craziness. Everyone's there to have a great time. And we do this event every year in Cancun called Closer to the Sun. And honestly, you got to try
Cancun in Europe? Cancun.
No,
Where's that?
Mexico.
Mexico. Mainland Mexico. I've never been there. Is there ways there?
No.
I don't think so. It's like a party place. That's what I've heard.
Yeah,
it's
party.
like
It's
Girls Gone
beautiful
Wild
though.
and
yeah.
shit.
we're in like Playa del Carmen,
And it's
which is
rager
nicer
on the
to-
beach?
It's great. We take over the whole Hard Rock Hotel, the Hard Rock Maya Riviera.
Fun.
And we've done it. This will be our 9th year doing it, and it sells out every year. This year,
summer? Is it summer?
No, it's in December.
Oh, so it's nice and not too hot.
Beautiful down. Oh, it's like 85. Beautiful. And like this year, 100% returner sold out the hotel before it could even go on sale. Like, because if you went, you have first every year. You could have gone once. You're on a list. Like, you get a pre-sale.
So everyone comes back every year.
Dude, it's nuts. Usually we have about 80% return. Then they open it up just because it's it's still expensive to go down there. But dude, the place, the production is so off the charts, and the food's great. The service is amazing. You can get every kind of booze that you want,
And
it's
you bring
all
a few
inclusive.
bands of your friends.
Oh
that
yeah,
come
we
too?
handpick it. Like
that's
this
fun.
year, it's us, Stick Figure, a bunch of homies. It's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Dude, that's amazing. What else you got?
Just keeping on the topic of like playing live music, 'cause that seems like what you guys are most passionate about. If you could go back and re-experience playing a certain show again, which one would it be? I know there's probably a lot to choose from.
Ooh, God.
Yeah, what was like your Madonna moment? I interviewed Mike D from Beastie Boys, and I asked him, what was the biggest concert you did? And they opened for Madonna, and he said it was like the craziest show of his life. Was there a moment other than Bob Weir in the studio where you played or opened for someone that you always looked up to? So like that big moment?
Let me think.
I mean, you guys jam with some pretty unbelievable.
Yeah, that's kind of a hard list because we've played with so many people that I love. To go back and do a show again, we played with Sublime at House of Blues in like, God, I want to say, I don't even know what year it was. It was obviously in the 90s. And it was like us, Wayne Kramer, and Sublime. It was like, but we were like just kids, young. We had just recorded
And Sublime was like the Rolling Stones at that time.
They were
big.
They weren't big yet.
Oh, they're still. This is
early. Before they exploded, because they exploded when he died.
Right.
They were getting big.
Right.
And like right up before he passed, they were kind of getting that.
So right when he passed, that album popped in with the sun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's 40 Ounces to Freedom. The album that popped was the Tattoo, the self-titled.
Exactly. The back tattoo.
But 40 Ounces was like a staple in the ride for us. Like when we were kids, we'd go on those surf trips with Kyle's dad, and we'd have the cassette of 40 Ounces. He was driving like a Dodge Caravan. We just pile in and go camp for a couple days.
Yeah, they were the pinnacle of your genre.
Yeah.
I mean, Sublime's the Rolling Stones of. What do they put your music under? What genre is it?
I think they just put us under alternative now. They don't even know what to say.
Yeah, because I see it as like ska, reggae, punk.
You can't put us in the reggae because our album has too many other different things on it. So I don't even know what you do. I think sometimes they put us as alternative. Some albums they have put as reggae. We're kind of all over the place.
Yeah,
I call
like
it
Sublime though. That you can never tell. They rap, they play punk, and they play kind of ska. Like there was no. You can't put Baby in a corner, is what I'm saying.
You know what I mean?
You guys are in the Sublime genre, and you guys should just call it your own, whatever. Alternative is kind of a funny name.
Yeah, I've always hated that. Like, it reminded me of like that alternative nation that when MTV started to go this way.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I was around when like Headbangers Ball and Yo MTV Raps were just off the charts. You know?
Headbangers Ball was so good.
It was so good. You'd wait, because it came on at like midnight, so you'd have to wait.
It's nice. I'm exactly the same age as you, and we went through the same thing where we literally had to like drive. Our friends would drive and be like, "Hey, we got to make a phone call," and you'd pull over. You'd find a payphone, and you'd be like, "Hey, give me some coins," and you would get the coins, call, and they wouldn't answer. You're like, "Damn it!" And then you drive further, and then you do another payphone. I mean, you would literally had to do that, and then it came into pagers, which I never had. And then when we got emails, came before cell phones. And I remember I'd be traveling in Brazil and be like, I can email my girlfriend like an actual letter right now. And then we got to see, we had the perfect age group.
It was pretty.
We got to go from nothing till now where we have too much.
I honestly think it's like much. We limit our kids on their iPads because it's just like it fries their brain, like where you want to just be on it. Everything's.
I just hate seeing people on their phones. And you came over to my house today, and if the one thing that I miss. And I don't miss, it's kind of funny, is we directions. I would have called you this morning and been, okay, you're going to take the 5 south to the Tecolote Canyon and go right. And you put an R with a circle. For sure. And then left on this street. Today, the ladies just said, hey, you're here, Dick. Just park out front. Stop being a jerk. So that is kind of my favorite thing about it is the GPS. But other than that, man, I watch too much porn. I do everything bad in my life because of that stupid porn.
Yeah, it is a little mental. Like, I wouldn't mind if the internet, even though like I appreciate the fact that it streams music, but all the other bullshit, I wish it would just go away.
Yeah.
Because we've lost as a society like a moral fiber. Like, there's less. Talking. I don't know. It's just the engagement is different. Like when we were kids, like there was no time to be bored. When you had your freedom, you were gone.
Like last night, I didn't see your text that you're at your daughter's game, and I was with my mom and my girlfriend, and I said, I'm just gonna call him because I'm old school. I was like, I'm gonna call him, and I call him and he answers, and we have a conversation, and I hang up, and I like that so much more than texting because I don't know, I just like my age group, we still call people.
Yeah.
The younger, I'm just gonna say to Annie, you call me though. Annie makes phone calls. She's an old soul.
Dude, the young. It'll be me and you.
You'll break up with me.
Hey, what up, bro? What are we doing?
No, you'll break up. You'll be like, hey, I just need to break up. You're like, I'm right here. You can't even tell me into my face.
All of a sudden, you just get slapped.
I know there's that commercial. Oh, I hate this commercial. This guy's getting married and he has his best man in the car, and he's texting him in the car, I love you guys. Thanks for coming. And they're all, right on, man. And I'm like, this is so dumb. I'm like, just look back and say, I love my friends. Can't we do it over the, like, oh man, it made me so upset that now you text your friend next to you that you're my boy, man. Thanks for being here for me. Like, bro, you can.
Yeah, it's a trip. It's definitely. I mean, I don't know how much quicker we can go to the next step of, the future. But I'm definitely down for it to slow down. Like all this, they've been talking about all this AI stuff, and I'm like, yo, let's pull it back, man. You guys haven't seen the Terminator, man?
Yes, exactly.
Like Jesus Christ, dude.
That's another thing of our childhood. Right?
Like,
we're scared of these things.
I feel like they've made enough of these movies about everything.
It's common.
Tons of this shit exists regardless of what you see and what you believe and what you don't believe. They have so much shit that we can't even fathom, that they won't even show us because society in a nutshell could not handle. Like,
all it's going to do is eliminate our existence, right? I mean, it's like, you don't need to drive trucks anymore. You don't, all those jobs are going to be gone. And what are we doing this for? Just to make one guy richer? It's silly.
It's crazy. They did like a new Terminator movie where it was kind of more in our era with the digital era, and they called the Skynet was the Genesis system. And they're like, at this time, it's going to log on and log into everyone's thing and da da da. And that's when all the shit hit the fan, and you're just kind of like, you know, the beauty about man is still you could make a decision. You know what I mean? You could debate it, you could talk about it. You know, a computer, if it sees that you're the problem,
you're gone.
You're fucking toast, dude.
Totally.
Like,
yeah.
You know, like that scares me. I don't want anything to do with that.
I think just we don't put ourselves through it, right? Like if we're not running, working out, going surfing, challenging yourself with music or anything like that, then every day you're trying to find something to have that struggle. And a lot of people are doing it by attacking each other or finding problems that aren't there. All this stuff. You're like, dude, we don't have a struggle anymore. Like people don't want to struggle. They just want to have that DoorDash shit, man. I had to stop. It's like a drug. Every evening, because I love cooking, I stopped. I was just like, oh, yeah, I'll get that Thai food again. And I did it like 10 days in a row. And I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing? I just have it ding. And then I did the one where it says leave it at the door, the creepy one. So they come, my house is creepy. And they'll come up to the door. I'm like, thanks. They're like, what the fuck? And they run. And I'm like, oh, shit, grab my food. And I run back inside. I'm like, oh, this is getting really weird. You need to cook your own food, and you need to stop with the DoorDash. It's so weird.
I'm guilty of that, too, sometimes. Like, you get done with something late, and you're like, oh, do we want to make a whole family meal right now, or just someone bring it to us in 30 minutes?
30 minutes. But just don't knock on the door and freak me out. Just kidding. That's the other thing. If someone knocks on your door nowadays, especially in this neighborhood, I'm always like, who's here? What's happening? And the solicitors come to my door, and I had to try to wear absolutely nothing when I go to the door to freak them out. I'm like, hello? They're like, what? We're good.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, I want to buy
candy
something.
for the kids.
So the surf part of it, I want to ask you. I'm giving you a dark arts board today.
Sick.
And it's it's definitely the hottest brand right now. It's a Philippe Toledo, John. Everyone's riding these boards, and they're incredible. And I know you're gonna love that one. But what do you and Kyle? Did you guys get hard into surfing when you were teenagers? And did you travel? Did you go to Indo or do anything?
No. He did. He surfed more than I did. Loved it growing up. You know what I mean? But he surfed more. My drummer has done more traveling for surfing.
Yeah. Who are your band members? Because I didn't. Just you and Kyle. I know.
So Ryan Moran is our drummer.
OB kid.
He lives in kind of up North County a little bit area.
He grew up around San Diego.
He's lived here for a long time. He's from Northern California, but he's grown here. He's been here a long time. And then OG Ocon is on the percussions. He's been in the band, I want to say 20 years now.
And that's trumpet.
I also have the horns. One horn player plays trumpet, flute, and trombone. His name's Andy Geib. And then Daniel De La Cruz plays the saxophone.
Wow, you guys have that. So it's a 6-piece?
And then Paul Wollstonecross on the keyboards.
And then you have a bass.
Me and Kyle.
Oh, you guys go back and forth with grabbing
bass
different...
and guitar. Yeah.
Okay. And then, so you have a 7-piece. That's kind of a lot traveling back in the day, probably, huh?
Well, back in the day, we were a 3-piece.
Okay,
and
that's
as
what I was thinking.
We kind of started getting, then we went to a 4-piece with OG, and then...
horns are my favorite, like Rocket from the Crypt. Some of my favorite bands of all time, when they had the horns, you're just like, whoa, it just makes such a difference.
Yeah, horns, in all honesty, live shows too, it's nuts, bro. It's so rad. It's killer. And the
Imagine
band.
7 dudes, though, drunk on tour, partying. That's so many people to have to, in the morning, hey, is everyone here?
Yeah.
We got to go to Daytona Beach now. That shit must have been crazy back in the day when you guys all traveled. Did you get it? Big buses, or did you guys always do different?
We've been in a bus now, I want to say, since 2008, maybe 2009. Before it was just vans, and in the vans we didn't have as big of a band yet. We started to make the band bigger as we moved into bigger vehicles, and just bigger venues too. Just wanted a bigger sound as a band, and we loved so many different styles. Our sound kept changing and getting into a bigger, mixing all of our styles together and playing, more music of all of our influences as opposed to just the old school punk rock influence. And I mean, dude, the journey's been nuts.
But it's so hard to create endlessly. And that's the one thing that bands always struggle with. But are you guys going out and writing songs still and going after new albums?
Yeah. We're in the process of recording another album right now. We've kind of been lagging on it just because, we took, our family time just because we dedicated most of our lives to the fans on the road, like literally 7 months a year, forever. And I think it was kind of nice just to kind of buckle down a little bit, enjoy our own kids.
Are you coaching these softball teams?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
are? Mm-hmm. Oh, I was just kidding.
Yeah,
You really?
Yeah. I've been their coach since they were in 6U.
How fun is that, Coach
Yeah,
Miles?
it's rad, dude. We have
Do your parents yell at you and shit?
No.
You're like, hey, don't yell at my daughter. You're like, hey, she got to learn this shit.
No, what's good is I learned a lot. My dad's a 40+ year coach, and so I was a coach's son. Learned a lot from him, kind of my way as.
Is he still alive?
Yeah, he's still alive.
So he comes down and watches you.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
And the girls can play, and like we have a great all-star team right now, and we won the first all-star tournament 2 weeks ago. We got knocked out in the semis this week, and then we have another one. There's like 6 tournaments in a row that you go to.
Your weekends are full, huh?
Oh, it's nuts, bro. We literally, you get home at night, you're up back in the morning and back because you're playing 5 games over the weekend. And it's great, though. The girls are having a blast. They're out there with their friends. And all the girls they've basically been my core group of girls since like their 8U season. And they're all 11 years old, 12 years old. So they really have a lot of continuity and they know each other well. So, you don't have to do much. You just let them, you fix when they make mistakes. And they're great. It's awesome, dude.
My goddaughter is doing it. She's got those little masks.
Oh,
they
yeah.
wear. They're so smart that they made those little
All
masks.
the girls have to wear them.
They have these little. Have you seen what we're talking about? They made these like kind of like
It's a plastic mask.
like a catcher's mat, but not as many things. And it's just so it protects their face. It is such a smart invention.
Yeah, so they make them wear it all the way to 14U.
Good.
Like it's by rule.
Yeah.
And which is, I have 3 beautiful girls. I don't want their
I
face
can't believe
smashed.
they steal so because my goddaughter is the same age as that, and they steal like every time they're on base, they're like.
Dude, steal. They're hitting home runs.
No, it was so cool to watch.
The bigger girls, like my older daughter plays on a travel team, and the way these girls hit, it's gnarly, dude. These are young women, dude. They're smoking the ball, dude.
Any of them want to maybe go into college sports?
They're
never
just
know.
gonna play it by ear. I'm not gonna. I've been their coach for so long that at a certain point they have to be able to make that decision on their own. I'm not gonna force them to. Like, you're going to go to college and play this. Like, at that age, like, they're basically, yes, they're not an adult, but they have to make that decision because it's something that affects
the rest of their life.
Yeah, and if they don't love it the way that we did growing up, then don't do it. Like, find a new passion because otherwise, life's short. You're wasting your time. They love it right now, and that's what counts. And as they grow,
What a cool dad. Right?
Seriously.
Their dad's a rock star, but he's a lover. It's so cool. That's awesome, man. Is Kyle the best dad too? Is he just always involved with his boys?
Yeah, his boys, they're good kids too.
They're
twins.
14?
They're I think they just turned 13 or 12. 12. They just had. I think they're 12. Yeah, man, they're
fun.
twins.
Best
They're
friends.
twins.
You got
Yeah, they're
kids
great.
the same age. You guys had such a stepbrothers life together.
Yeah, it's
Done
really
everything
cool.
together.
He's got 2 good-looking boys that they look like little Kyles. It's so rad. Yeah, it was cool.
I
it's
love
just
that
great.
part about my friends that have kids, and you see them when you met them. You're like, I met him when he was 5, and when you see him 5, they look like your best friend miniature again. You're like, it's almost like reverse Benjamin Button. You get to see him all over again.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like I have some old school pictures of him, like when he was that age, and in my mind, like I'm just like, damn, that is so crazy how close they look to you.
the
and,
same little
and
bowl cut.
yeah, they're good kids too, and it's just rad. They're gonna grow up basically pretty close to the same age as our girls, and all the guys in the band have kids now, which is cool. And
Do they go to school together as well?
No. My kids have been homeschooled for the last 2.5 years. They're just gonna re-enter the.
I did homeschool,
school
but I
system.
threw that thing in the garbage because I started traveling the world. But is homeschool nowadays different? Is there a lot to it?
Dude, I love it, honestly, because a lot of times in school, people can have their own opinion about it. It's a waste of fucking time.
Oh, yeah. A lot of time they're doing roll call for 4 hours.
It's just, you're learning stuff. You have to start thinking about, like, what are your interests?
Right.
what's something that you can succeed in, as opposed to going, you're going to take
Learn about Abe Lincoln's.
You're going to take algebra. You're going to take geometry. If you're not going to be an engineer, maybe you don't need to take those things.
Right.
Like,
couldn't agree more.
Are you going to be an artist? Maybe you should focus in the art world. Or are you going to be a computer guy? Let's focus in like, they don't address that enough.
Never.
And there's no skills. Like, they took all like the auto shops out, the wood shops, those kind of things that we need carpenters.
No,
we need mechanics.
We need,
and those, they don't teach kids that. Like, there should be a class on how to balance your fucking checkbook.
100%.
Like,
when finance should always be in there.
Bro,
and it should be a list of 12 genres that you could pick. And you go, I want to do these this year, like they do in college. Why can't they do it in elementary school?
Well, I just think it's silly because you're setting society up to fail when you're just putting them in this cookie cutter crap of life. That, think about all you learned in school that you really don't use. Pretty much 95% of the shit you learn in school, you don't use in everyday life. Okay, you need your addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Bang, you got those. You need to be able to have a conversation, read and write.
Accountability and punctuality, I think, are the things you learn in school. You have to be there. You have to be there on time. Those are literally the only things you remember.
For sure.
It's like waking up going, I don't want to do this. And then you would do it, and you're like, it wasn't too bad. Those are the things I learned out of it. Especially, I grew up in Hawaii. It was scary. It was terrifying. You just go there and just keep your mouth shut. You're like, I'm just cruising.
The thing is, though, like, you're going to school for like 6.5 hours and 7 hours maybe of time, and then you get home and there's another hour and a half of homework. Like, are you kidding me? Like, do all that shit at school.
Totally.
Because, and some kids are doing it 3 hours a night if you're, it just, to me, that's ridiculous because you forget that you only have so much time to be a kid.
Right.
Like, and that's what I loved about homeschool. Kids were done at 12:30. They could do whatever they want.
Totally.
And it's like, we didn't give them homework. That's what's going to be funny. They're going to go back to school, and I'm going to be like, you girls are going to have a little bit of a wake-up call because you haven't had homework in 2 years.
Yeah,
it's going to be.
That's heavy. But you guys, in the middle of the day, they have to sit down and do their work, and you guys have schedule.
They each have their own
time
zone
slots.
to go, and we have someone come and kind of run it. My wife was doing it last year, and we agreed that it would just be easier to have someone come and be there the whole time that they're in school. If they have any problems, they check with them, and then me and my wife can just live our life.
You got anything over there?
Yeah, I got more.
Yeah.
Because you've been playing music for like a really long time. You were kind of talking about like if your girls kind of get burnt out of playing a certain sport, they don't need to do it. How have you kept yourself from getting burnt out? Or is that just not even, like, you love it so much, that's not even something that's an issue?
I mean, in all honesty, it's the funnest job in the world.
Right.
Like, when you're burnt out, I have 3 months off. So get back to Zen and get your ass back on the road, because it's once you get on that stage, it's amazing. Even like you could be tired all day, just having the worst day ever. As soon as you get on stage, there's like a switch that flips, and all of a sudden you're electrified and all your problems just went away. And just like, I mean, music heals not only, the world, but a musician itself. Like, you're on stage, like there's something healing about it, and best drug in the world. I don't think I'll ever, not do it. Maybe play it less as you get older. Yeah. But I don't think I would never not do it. It's just too much fun. Like, you're out there with your friends. And as long as we've been touring, I have friends across the entire country that I love to see every year. Like, it's great. Like, that's how I see, the hundreds of people that you meet along the way. And that's how I have family all over the country, and they go to every show we play when we're in their town. And that's just part of, like, it's like little family reunions everywhere you go. So it's something we do every year. And to me, I mean, that's what makes life special. And our job is just so rad, especially all the musician kind of tour families that we've met along the way. It's incredible. Like, you'll be on the road and you'll see a crew guy that, was like either in your crew or one of the other bands. And, it's just like, it's a tour family. So it's, you have your life at home with your regular, kids, wife, family, friends, all that stuff. And then you have your tour family. So
what is your favorite, like, when you put on the radio, or let's just say, because we like to golf and stuff, and you have Spotify on, what's your go-to? Like, who's your bands you listen to?
I mean, I liked a lot of the classic rock stuff. Yeah. Honestly, when I put on like any of the Pandora, I just put on yacht rock.
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah.
Like
I've been doing 70s rock on my Spotify.
It's
I
fun,
love
you
it.
know, Hall and Oates, that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. The Police. It was just great
Michael
music.
McDonald.
Michael McDonald. You
Such
don't,
a good singer.
You don't realize like how many hip hop songs
Come from the
basically
beats,
Michael McDonald wrote.
huh? Yeah, right? Yeah, that is a good point.
But yeah, it's just that era of music was so great, you know. The Sam Cookes, those kind of things. I like all the stuff, soul, funk, everything. It's great.
You guys made some music videos? You guys were after MTV, so
yeah, we still made that. You put them on YouTube and all that stuff, and yeah, we have a few. I don't even know how many we made. I think we did one for 2 a.m. We did one for this one that's on our last record, One More Night. Closer to the Sun, I think. Sweet Honey.
So what's your favorite song? Because we're going to have Miles play acoustic song if you're still down for that. If
Sure.
It's cool. Is Collie probably the best acoustic one? Collie Man?
Collie Man.
And what's that song about?
One More Night. Obviously it's a song about weed, but really the Collie Man could be anything that brings you to that, kind of mellow, happier place. Like it's really just saying, life's so special and there's going to be ups and downs in lives and you don't necessarily have to have a weed guy, but there has to be, something in your life that can, give you that happy feeling again, give you that nurturing and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And, it's like the subliminal phrase just because we are a weed, band. But, as far as songs that I've written, that one, The Prophet is a song that I wrote when I was a teenager.
Which one would you like to play?
Oh, I'll play either one. It doesn't matter. I can play anything.
You got your tuned up. You're already tuned up behind you. It's gonna be our first artist to play on the podcast, and it's gonna be hopefully not the last. I'll sing it. No, I'm just kidding. I can't wait. This is awesome. We're dedicating this song to James Earl Weatherly. My dad passed 2 nights ago.
Cheers.
And he loved music and he loved karaoke. He was a karaoke guy. Okay, let's do this.
This is The Prophet. Never thought too much on wealth to let me keep it for myself. But while the world's been turning upside down, it's hard to talk about. Another bottle on the shelf, another hand that you've been dealt. What's going on's been going on, left you to scream and shout. And I ain't no prophet to cure some damn disease. Would you help me anyway if I was on my knees? I'm going through my time of change, in my time of need. And every little thing is gonna be all the same. I never thought too much on wealth to let me keep it for myself. But while the world's been turning upside down, it's hard to talk about. Another bottle on the shelf, or with the hand that you've been dealt. What's going wrong's been going on. It's time for you to scream and shout. What's going wrong's been going on. It's time for you to scream and shout. I went to that corner store to get myself a bottle of beer. I was a rolling with a friend of mine. Living was a little more clear. I always knew what I wanted from the start was a reason just to get out and play. While drinking early was a thing for the summertime, music and my sweet Mary Jane. I never thought too much on wealth to let me keep it for myself. But while the world's been turning upside down, it's hard to talk about. Another bottle on the shelf, or with the hand that you've been dealt. What's going wrong's been going on. It's time for you to scream and shout. What's going wrong's been going on. It's time time for you to scream and shout. You know it's time for you to scream and shout. You know it's time for you to scream and shout.
That's so good. How much fun is it to be able to do stuff like that? That sucks that I never chose music. Damn it. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, dude, that's
cool
awesome.
You just get to tell stories,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, that's the best part, is just like telling a cool story.
What do your girls think of Dad? Do they think of you as just this dad? You're the coach.
They don't.
You're the coach. They don't give a shit about
They'll
any of
go
this.
to a show. My kids are obviously spoiled because they get all the nines at the show, like the backstage treatment and all the good stuff. And they'll come to a show and they'll watch like 4 or 5 songs and have like one of my security guys take them back to the dressing room
And eat the
and
buffet.
just chill, yeah, because there's like, shit. I always have it set up for them, so there's games and extra snacks and cool
I
stuff.
always love that. Like, I'm friends with Kurt Hammett and his 2 boys. I love his 2 kids. And they literally could give 2 rats asses. And we're talking 40,000 people screaming and stuff. And they're like, get me out of here. I just want to go home. Like, it's just, I love that about families. They ground you so hard.
It is pretty funny, man. Like, because honestly, I'm like, because obviously in a few years, it's going to be completely different because all of her,
Gonna be teenagers,
you know, the 17-year-old friends, because their friends have all come to the shows anyway. Like when they, like last year, we've been playing the Gallagher Square at Petco, and it's been rad, dude, because the Padres have been incredible. Like everyone that works there has been behind Slightly Stoopid, and they've just done amazing things, and they've brought our all-star teams out there, and styled out.
Have you done the first pitch?
Yeah,
You
I'm
must
actually
have.
doing it June 7th.
Okay, awesome. AJ's a good friend of mine, and he just had Mark McMorris. I think I told you that, the pro snowboarder
Yeah,
kid. do it.
yeah, that's right.
And what day are you going to do it?
June 7th.
I'm gonna
day
come
game.
down and
Yeah,
I'll
it's
get
a
a
day
ticket
game.
on that one. That'll be fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. My man Daryl Dean, that he works for the Padres, just
Your
basically
boys are good now. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
dude.
not. I'm not. I didn't grow up here my whole life, but I've been here for so long, and I've never seen a better Padre team. They're not playing that great right now, but
they're gonna
damn,
be
they're
fine.
good.
Like what's
Yeah.
funny is you go to the games. There's so many fair weather fans in San Diego. Like there's so many games in a season. 162 games. Relax. Like they're still trying to figure it out. They've been switching the lineup, in my opinion, too much. Like they're moving stuff around too much. There needs to be a
Yeah,
little
I think
bit
that's
more,
what everyone's consensus. Yeah.
solidified of the lineup, because you have too many good hitters. And I think once all the personalities finally gel, they're going to be great. There's
We
too
need
much
a Dominic coach.
I literally was saying,
Dude, we do. Like,
I literally had a funny comment this morning saying, I don't know if Bob Melvin is the right
No, he's
temperament for all these Dominican players we
guy
have
that's
that are
spicy and
young and
into
like
it.
they're dancing, going nuts, and Bob's like,
all right.
good play.
Good play. Yeah, we definitely need hot tees. Hot tees. That's what we call him. Hot tees, because he's so good looking.
He's been smashing the ball.
Crushing it. You need like his uncle or his dad, one of those spicy Dominic guys, come in and kick their ass and play.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Just like they, no disrespect to Bob Melvin either. I just think you have such a young team that you need more of an electrifying coach to kind of relate with these players.
And a little Spanish in there, just throwing some. I don't know. There's like.
Yeah, I mean,
fired up.
there's definitely so many good elements of the team, and once the fan base also settles down a little bit, like, did you expect them to go 162-0? Like, settle down. Like,
They had
they're
such a good run last year too.
yeah.
That was-
I mean, they've only played 60 games, so and just under 60 games. They haven't even played 60 games. There's still 100 more, and they're only they're 4 games under 500. They're going to be fine.
Yeah, they're gonna
so
be
it's
fine.
let's not all jump ship. I was at the game and like they were booing, and I'm like, are you serious? Like, if I could slap every one of you, I would. Like,
yeah, the tickets
so out of
are
touch.
the lot of the guys are selling their tickets right now, and I was like, what? Just because they're not winning, and like people are like, they're not winning, they don't want to go, and I'm like, that's some bullshit.
Well, the thing is, to me, obviously the tickets are more expensive now because they're putting a better product on the field.
Yeah.
If you're going to put a better product on the field, I don't mind paying a little more.
Exactly.
I'm not sure I'm a huge fan of the game clock when you're at the game. At home, it makes the game great. But when you're at the game, the new game clock, the experience is quick.
Quick, yeah.
Like, a few weeks ago, we were at a game where the whole game was over in like 2 hours and 20 minutes, if that.
Yeah.
And we were in a suite. We didn't really even.
Yeah, you're not paying attention in seventh inning. You're
Yeah,
like,
we're
"Whoa."
like, oh, we didn't even get to really enjoy the game or the suite. Like, you're in this beautiful suite, and next thing you know, you thought it was going to be a 4-hour experience. Now it's 2 hours and 20, and you're like, damn it.
Yeah, those suites too, the food, the buffet, like the sushi and everything. You'll lose yourself, and you walk out of there 10 pounds heavier.
Oh my God, the guys from Sequan have let me go with them to the Gallagher suite, which is absolutely ridiculous. It's the greatest suite I've ever been in. It's so nuts.
And what is Gallagher? Is that the steakhouse or whatever?
I don't know what Gallagher, because they have Gallagher Square. Then the Gallagher suite is right next to the owner's suite, but it's better. Like, to me, it's like raging compared to the owner's suite.
Such a nice stadium.
Yeah, it really is. It's beautiful, and there's not really a bad seat. I mean, I don't sit in the nosebleeds, but from what they're not bad either.
We did our first date, me and my girlfriend's first date. We've been together a year and a half. It was your guys' concert with Thievery Corporation.
Oh, sick.
And we sat in that park under a tree, and I would say we might have been on Molly or something, but we had the best time ever. And you guys had that. It was like behind the baseball field.
Yeah,
It
Gallagher
pretty
Square.
sick.
Yeah, that's what it's called.
It's called Gallagher.
Yeah.
There you go. Gallagher must have been like one of the best Padres ever, and we don't know it. People are like, it's Gallagher, dude, best pitcher in the 70s.
He was actually the maintenance guy for 30
Yeah, that's right. He's the guy that used to own the house where they tore down to go to Petco Park. Do you mind doing Kali Man? That's my favorite song. It's the fucking best song ever. So tell me about this one. Did you write this one?
Yeah.
And this is our late 90s or is this 2000s?
I think I wrote this late 90s.
And how'd this come about? Just you with a guitar by yourself fucking around or?
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much?
Yeah. Let's see if I remember this damn song.
Oh, I love it. This is just such a classic sound of you guys.
And some man live his life for profits alone. And that very same man, he lives his life all alone. You know the road to life as it goes up and down. And doesn't really matter as long as the music goes on. And Mr. Calling me, won't you come out no more? But Mr. Golly man, don't you hear me trouble call? But Mr. Golly man, I bet it ain't come to disturb. You best not be coming here unless you've got the sense of your earth. That was like a staple.
I
of
love
the-
that
all
song. That's my
of, like,
favorite.
growing
I
up.
think that's my favorite one.
Thanks, man.
I mean, it's probably not your biggest hit, right? Or it's just the sound is your guys' sound on that one. I always when I hear that song, I'm like, that's Slightly Stoopid for sure.
Yeah, it's been like it's always a crowd favorite. Like, we always mix it in. Like, if we're not playing it every night, it's like every couple nights.
There's no horns in that one. There's nothing. It's just you playing.
Yeah,
acoustic,
yeah.
right?
We did it like bass, guitar, and what's cool is we actually recorded Callie Man and Everything You Need in Dr. Dre's studio at Interscope.
What?
Yeah.
With him there?
No,
That's
not
his
there.
studio
So
where he
we
did
were-
all the Chronic and
When
everything?
we were doing like we were kind of transitioning, trying to figure out if we were, pushing to a major label back then. It was like early 2000s. And Interscope was potentially going to sign us. And so we were in the studio and we did Callie Man and went into a meeting with Jimmy and he wanted me to change it. And I was like, I'm not changing it. I'm not changing
that
like,
producer guy, Jimmy, like the
Jimmy
famous
Iovine,
one?
the famous
The famous one?
And I was like, I don't
There's
want
only
to
one
change
Jimmy.
it. Yeah, and
What did he want different?
he wanted me to just put different things in it, and I said, this is what the story is, And literally the no bullshit. Like the next day, like all the amenities went away.
Oh, no
like,
way.
Yeah,
you don't fuck with Jimmy.
Yeah, but it was kind of punk rock what we did because this was honestly
You're talking about your art.
This was the best thing we first of all could have ever done. The story gets better. Like the next day we're in the studio and you know.
No more fruit for you.
Yeah, like, dude, the first few days we were there, dude, I'm not lying, like, carte blanche, bro. 5-star food, all the whatever weed you want, alcohol, anything you want. Done. Say it, done. So let's just say this is day 4 or day 3. I don't remember what it was, but all of a sudden it was like we were ordering from Rubio's fish tacos. Like, not to take anything away from Rubio's, but it was like, we went from like,
high life.
Steak and lobster to Rubio's fish tacos, which is cool.
Which is actually where you guys are supposed to be anyway.
Yes, we're more of like Mexican Roberto's and Nitos,
exactly.
you know what I mean? That's us anyway. But so, and then all was like the weed budget was gone. And then the guy that was there, this amazing guy, Ben Gordon, he was just like, fuck, man. He's like, I know, sorry. I'm just going to get what you want. I'm just going to pay for it myself. So he was a G because he was such a fan of the band. He brought us into Interscope. And, then we're finishing the session. It was just like, okay, you know, you guys have till today to be done, and you got to be out of here. And so we finished the session. We're like, all right, well, fuck it. You know, we got, record, and we took the masters.
Wow.
And it was, they were their masters. And we just the guy at the studio was like, hey, I was like, no, these songs are ours. We're taking them. And what was cool is because we were shopping for labels. We had kind of potentially turned down other things because we thought we might go with Interscope, and we ended up like kind of threatening a semi-lawsuit against them just because they kicked us out of the studio, and we were just like, fuck you then, let's go. And we ended up winning like a $25,000 settlement.
No way.
And it ended up like, it wasn't like crazy money, but what was rad is it bought us our touring van, our next touring van. So we literally just took that check, bought a van, hit the road, and we had everything you need in Collie Man, and then we just went back to the studio and kept recording the Everything You Need record.
That's like the story of your band though. It's like stick to what you know and be honest and real, and that's why you guys are successful.
Yeah,
if you guys would have went overproduced in the beginning, people would have gone, it's not the sound I remember from Slightly Stoopid.
Well, the thing is about it is we would have just got lost in that machine.
Right.
Like there's no way for us. That was not the road for us. No. Like it literally, because when you go to those major labels, they lock you in for like a multi-record thing where you can't get out of that shit. You can't be like, okay, you dropped me, but I still owe you 4 records.
100%. Like, and you owe money that you didn't really know. Like Tom DeLonge was my roommate, and they got MCA, big deal. They bought him $50,000 van, and then they gave him the money for the record, but they had to pay it all back. Of course. And they were paying it back forever until they luckily made it. And they were in the same kind of struggle where it was like, yeah, we made it, but we have no money now.
It's a funny, like, this is where any artist, really, young artists, they get it wrong. Like, you think, oh, I made it. The major label just spent $1 million on my record. No, you spent $1 million on your record. They're gonna market it like no other because the machine makes people famous. Like first
tell
of all,
them that like that. A lot of people don't realize Jimmy, those kind of people, they call the radio stations and they say, hey, you're putting this song on. And that's how you make it. Without that call, that's why Jimmy took away Lobster. He's like, hey, bitch, I'm not calling the radio stations. It was how you made it back in those days. Is if they had the producer call the radio station and said, play Slightly Stoopid, you became famous. And if he didn't have that call, you were just like fucking.
But even today, it's still the same. Like the same crap on the radio is like it's just a machine that is. When you hear a song 10 million times, like some people are getting thousands of spins a week. Think about that. Like
that's crazy.
Even at our highest spins, it was in like maybe 100.
Like 91X supported you guys.
Yeah, they're great. 91X has been amazing. But I'm just saying because we're not part of the machine, you don't get the Taylor Swift spins. No, you know what I mean? Like Taylor Swift is like every third song.
You're still on this side of Colorado.
Yeah.
Seriously, you're like over here still.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, it's a big thing. But it's like that's not what you're doing this for.
No, and what's great, like I said earlier, is we have such an organic fan base. Yeah. It literally is so much more powerful than the machine because we've toured with so many artists that were platinum artists that can't sell 500 tickets. And because you were part of that machine, they helped you sell those records, but that fan base is not a real
Fan base, yeah.
Like when the machine's not pushing you, I want to know if that fan base is still there, real, because there's an essence to it. And the superstars, yes, there is some amazing superstars, but there's also people that you're like, this motherfucker is worth $200 million. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen musicians that absolutely do circles around some of these bands that you're like, why the fuck is that famous? Yeah. And that's why I love just the essence of the touring and the hard work and the respect you get from the fan base, the family vibe that you've seen, and you've watched your fan base grow before your eyes as they've watched you grow. Like, you know what I mean? And, you know, when I first started, obviously didn't have any hair on my face, and now I got gray hair everywhere, and I'm still playing music with my best friends, and those same people that were, you know, smooth skinned with you when you were 20 are the same people that are there now with their kids.
They probably have photos too for 20 years of you guys taking a photo with them and stuff.
And it's funny, you know, it's so many memories of all that because of what we've done, you know, and the experience of touring. Like, I always say, like, if you don't do that, and you're not part of it for real, you don't know. You'll never really understand it. Like, I have so much respect for touring bands. I don't even care if I hate the music.
Right.
I respect the fact that you're putting yourself out there. It is not easy to step on a stage and give yourself to people. Like, people think, oh, it's just like, everything's great. There's no, you know, everything just works. And it's like, fuck you, dude. Like, shit's hard. Like, there's a lot of things that go to make this happen, and just even your own self-confidence. Like, there's days where, like, you know, I'm always more excited than nervous, but there's been shows where you're like a little nervous because maybe you're playing with like a musical hero of yours that, like, you know, I've played shows where like, oh God, I want to crush this set because I know that this dude's here. You know what I mean? I want to fucking murder it.
Yeah, our last guest was Donovan Frankenreiter.
Oh, I've played many shows with him.
And he's doing a record. I just thought of this. Guinness World Record. And this guy travels 270 days a year, as he said, always tells us. And he just signed up for, they had to pay 20 grand to America, what do you call it? Guinness World Record. And if they don't pull it off, they lose the 20 grand. Yeah. 50 shows in 49 days. Am I right? Yeah, 50 states. Excuse me. He's doing 50 states with the Allman Brothers' son. I hope I'm right on that, Donnie. Sorry. Yeah, the Allman Brothers, the lead guitarist's son, is going on tour with them. 50 states in 49 days, and they end at the festival at Hermosa Beach with Jack and all those guys.
Wow.
You know the Pennywise?
They're going to play 50.
No, it's called the Ranch Life or something.
Beach Life.
Beach Life Ranch.
It's a new. It's not the side. Yeah.
Cool place. So we saw the Black Keys the other day there. It was a sick venue.
We played it a couple years ago with Bob.
Yeah, you guys would have been perfect there because that whole beach vibe was sick. But anyway, they got to finish at that ranch thing, and so we're gonna see that show. And if they pull it off, they can't miss a show.
How the fuck can his vocals hold up for 50 shows straight?
But that's what you're saying.
50 days?
50 shows in 49 days. So they have to beat the record. 2 in 1 day. Yeah. Dude, I have to. Can you imagine? Like, that's what we're talking about, this traveling and doing it. He does it all year long for the past 20-something years, and now he's going to try to break a record. It's like, he's crazy.
I have something close to that. What is that? Slightly Stoopid and Pepper did a tour where we did 47 shows in 58 days.
Jesus, dude. That's a big show. You know, like Donna, it's just them two, and I think they have a little band. It's like 5 guys, but they said a couple of them they might have to leave the band just to get them. You know, and you guys had 2 giant bands, and,
dude. It was nuts. Well, these were the old school band days where we were a 4-piece, they were a 3-piece, and we incredible. I don't remember the name of the tour, but 47 shows in 58 days. That was the first time my mom ever thought I took drugs, because I came home just looked so weathered. She was like asking my manager, asking like friends, like, what's wrong with my son? He looks terrible. I was like, well, he just partied for 47 fucking nights and 58 days. Like,
he's alive.
And we partied too.
Did
like
you back then, for the week?
Oh, bro. I don't even know how we survived that, because we would leave shows at 2 a.m. and basically whoever was the soberest would drive.
You didn't have a driver.
No, this
of
is
course
van
not.
days, bro. There's no drivers, dude. You're
Oh my god! You guys were sleeping on top of each other. Everything.
bro. And we had we've known Pepper for 20 plus years. Like those guys are just great friends. Me and Kaleo are great friends, and just They're awesome. Great. And they were on tour with us last summer too. And it's just it's such a magical thing when we gave them Assad, and so we gave them their first tour in the States.
Wow!
When they came from Hawaii, we were the first band they toured with.
Yeah, you guys would be so perfect to watch together.
And it was just like, and especially those days, it was so chaotic too. We were just like young. We didn't sound that good. Just punk, fucking total just chaos every night. We were raging. The shows would be rad, and then something crazy would happen every night.
You had one of those cameras that you winded up, probably. You got some of those photos still. You must have some great memories.
So I have boxes of photos that I need to still go through that are so rad. So many memories on the road. Because I like, I'm actually ordering this for my house. I want a photo printer, like just that only does pictures, because there's so many pictures on my phone that you never print anything anymore. And I just want to have like that photo box for my kids, like when I die, you know what I mean? Like, just like we had all those things, memories.
My little album down there has all the pictures when I'm a kid.
Yeah, and when you pull those out, like I still, like, all of a sudden you'll make a drink and be like, oh, I'll sit down for 2 hours and look at photo albums or boxes.
And you can't delete them and go like, oh, I don't look good in that photo. So all the photos are just what they are, and I love that.
Yeah, dude.
I got to look like shit. You're like, yeah, good. Exactly.
This is you.
Filter. There's no filter. That filter thing. I'll put a filter on us today just so we look younger and cool, but... those filters are a motherfucker, especially for daughters. Damn, they have to live up to fake news.
Well, that's what sucks. In all honesty, like, I just feel bad for kids in general. Everything's such a self-conscious thing now because, it's so fake. Everyone's doing these things and saying, this is me. And then you'll meet someone and you'll be like, fuck, dude, you don't look anything like you. Like, who are you? Like, it's like a completely different person. And there's just a lack of self-esteem in society.
Or love for yourself, right?
And yeah, for sure. Self-love. And when people complain about, society as a whole right now, you forget that we kind of eliminated all the ability to focus on any sort of mental health issues in the U.S. No, everyone talks about, where we are and what's going on, the craziness of this and that. There is a mental health issue in the U.S. and all the mental health facilities have been taken away. Right. Those are gone. Like, even whether it's homeless, crazy people in general, there's a lot of people that just have mental health issues, and that's kind of been the fuckery of society.
It's one of those classes we were talking about. There should be a psychology in elementary. There should be where you get to talk things out and talk about your problems. From this, because the expectation of life is not this. Yeah. And you get shamed by people you don't know. Yeah. You get, ridiculed by people you don't know. And then it turns kids into fucking head cases.
Head cases. They're self-absorbed into this fake reality. Yeah. And that's why we've done our best. Like, we just got our 14-year-old a phone because she's going into high school. My other kid, if they're using their electronics, they get them for the weekend only. Like, there's no...
Yeah, you got to put down...
You have to live your life. Like, you can't be glued to this shit. Like, I told my kid that got a phone. I was like, you get your phone. If I just see you with your head down, I'm taking that.
Yeah. Like, I drive into PB and there's 4 Botox places down Garnett. It's so trippy. And these girls are only like 22, 23, and they feel like they have to get Botox. It's like, wait, if you don't love yourself now, dude, when you're 40, you're going to fucking hate yourself.
But that's where society has kind of lost our way, though. Like, there's no... I feel bad for this younger generation because the hard work and fear of failure, just process.
You can't fail nowadays. That's the problem.
But you have to fail to succeed.
Fail. I know.
You can't succeed without failing. And failing, you learn.
Yeah, everything.
That's what people don't realize. Like, dude, you had to fail to drop into the biggest wave.
I mean, everything about my life is failing. Everything. I do comedy, and it's horrible. I just do it because I want to fail.
No, but that's true, how you get better, though. Like, I've been booed off a stage before because we played obviously the wrong crowd. We played the wrong place.
That's Donovan in a nutshell.
It to me, if you could overcome that stuff, like your mental and like your toughness,
That's your character. And dude, if you make a mistake nowadays, you can't say sorry. It's over. You're done.
know, it's so
You're like, hey, I
crazy.
was drunk and I said something stupid. Can I just take that back or say sorry?
Jesus.
That shit's so whack. I think that is my least favorite thing about the world right now.
Yeah.
It's
And-
like, well, you can't be wrong.
but everybody's a pussy, man. I'm sorry. Like, I hate to say that. Like, it's just like everybody's so fucking sensitive, man.
Yeah, they have.
And it's
skin.
like, oh, your feelings were hurt. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Can we just go on to the next thing, man? Like,
It's so true.
like love each other, man. Like, there's such a funny thing in the world, and that's what I love about just. I'm gonna say about being at the beach in the ocean. When you're there and you're in the water, it's like your whole everything just.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's nothing like going in the ocean.
and just that vibe that people just don't have that. Like, there's no. Everything's like, get your fucking pitchfork and flame and rah.
Yeah, I that's what comes back to when we're talking about it. They don't go for runs. They don't challenge themselves. They're not goal driven. Kids nowadays, the only goals they have are on the internet. Like, oh, I'm gonna get so many followers, man. You don't even know,
man. I want to be a YouTuber.
The one thing that drives me crazy is like the girls in the G strings. They have 1 million followers and 200 likes. You're like, okay, then who the fuck? 950,000 people that are looking at this. They're not pressing like because they're embarrassed. They're following it just to see this girl's ass.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is the weirdest time in the world where me and you have barely any followers, but the people that follow us know us and they like
they
what we're
respond,
doing.
yeah.
I should show some more ass. You too. But yeah,
Mine's pretty white.
You watch it, but you watch it and you just can't believe that this girl has got 1 million people following her and she's getting paid.
I mean, it's kind of like, I'm going to use the Kardashian family, famous for nothing.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
you put
Yes.
these ladies on a pedestal. Why? Because Kim had a sex tape?
Yeah. Or
Like,
they're
and the mom ran with
pretty.
it. Like, I love how, like, they're like, yes, one of the daughters is a self-made billionaire. Is she?
I know.
You know what I mean?
They
Like-
actually debunked that like
Yeah.
a few years ago. It was like if you took away the money her family already had, she hadn't made like hardly
Well, of
anything.
course. I'm just saying she wasn't at the end of the day, it's not a self-made billionaire. She's on this. Her whole family was famous because of a sex tape, and then they ran with it. Hey, I'm not mad at them. I'm just saying our culture of society, we praise those people as success.
Totally.
But what? She's success for sucking a dick on
Yeah,
camera?
it's
Excuse my
so-
language, but Christ.
No, but it's true. Like, there's
and,
no talent.
and they
there.
ran with it, and the whole
yeah.
family's
No,
famous.
Kris Jenner is you could say what you want. She is the best like marketer in the
It's
world.
crazy.
Insane. She made her daughters famous for not being able to do anything.
Yeah, and that's society. Like, we're so just glued to fame and things instead of just creating.
Yeah, creating.
Like,
and
let's
making yourself feel good
let's
every day.
create something
Yeah,
like
you don't feel good when all you're worried about is your looks. It's not a thing. Like, you might look and take a photo and go, okay, and then you have to delete 700 of them because your eyelash look weird. And then you're like, okay, I'm happy I got a good photo. But that goes away in like 10 minutes. If you're doing something with like creative and you're an artist, the feeling of something wholesome and good goes all day. You feel great all day. Going surfing, the rest of the day, you're like, dude, I don't give a fuck about traffic. You like, sit in traffic, like, I just surf for 2 hours perfect way. It's like, fuck.
it is kind of something. But like, after you leave the beach, you're just like, God, it feels so good. You know?
It feels so good. Dude.
Yeah, the one thing that San Diego lacks for making it like a real paradise is warm water.
Yeah.
You know, like
and he told me a story when he was a little kid. Obi Jetty is legendary for San Diego River. Goes right out. So if it rains, don't go in the water.
Yeah.
And he got scabs on his
Yeah,
face.
I got like sores. You could still see the like red. It like
From the
I got
water.
like some sort of staph, like sores all over my face when I was a kid.
That's so nuts.
And it had like a 2-day straight of spillage without telling people. And we surfed like 3 hours at the jetty. And
Boogie Boarder died.
I
back
think
in
I
the
just
day.
had a cut. That's why I got, because whoever I was surfing with didn't get it. So I think it's just because I had a cut. And the next
And Kyle's like, I'll just pee on it.
yeah. Thanks, bro.
Dude, growing up in PB, you guys must have been such little rats. I mean, it must have been so fun to grow up in that little city there.
Oh, dude. Just growing up in that town, like my dad still lives like on the same block of the OB Pier. Kyle's dad.
Your dad still lives down there?
Yeah, and then Kyle's dad lives at the Dog Beach Jetty. At
That's
the
so dope.
walkway at Dog Beach.
Were
right
they
there.
friends, the Pops?
Yeah, yeah. Our because we lived across the street
Oh
from
my
each
God.
other when we were like 2 and 3,
so
or
cool.
1 and 2 kind of.
I call it the Venice Beach, the South Venice Beach.
Ocean Beach. Yeah.
Yeah, Ocean Beach is like Venice. If you've never been, I don't think Annie's ever been to OB.
You never been to OB?
I don't think so.
Oh,
it's
that's
like
crazy.
Venice. She's from Palos Verdes.
Yeah, I'm from up north.
Oh, okay. I was like, damn, you never.
No,
this is
she's
right
never
there,
been
you know?
down there. We should go down there. It's such a cool. It's the only funky town we got left down in SoCal.
I've heard a lot of really cool things.
Yeah.
About
Yeah.
down there. Just
There's
haven't
still
quite
all
made it
kinds.
myself.
Yeah, the homeless. We don't call them. They live off the land down there, and there's still a community, but they're different. They're not violent as much. They get a little fisky, but
when I was growing up, the homeless guys were like
Chill.
veterans. They were more, and everybody knew them in the community. The homelessness now is a little more aggressive in OB. Like there's been gnarliness. There was something on the news where a buddy of mine got jumped by 5 homeless dudes because he wouldn't give them money.
Oh yeah.
And they broke his collar.
Shit.
It broke his wrist. And just right in front of Hodads. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right in the hood.
So my problem is it's now it's kind of taken over the streets where if they weren't trashing everything and shitting and pissing all over the sidewalks, I wouldn't say anything, but they are. You know, and it's just different when we were a kid. Like now it's like you'll see homeless and then they'll pull out a cell phone. You know,
totally. They're begging for money with the $700 phone.
And then they're pissing on businesses. Like people have left. First of all, I never wanted Starbucks to come, but Starbucks physically left because the homeless would sleep in front of their thing and wouldn't let anyone in.
Right.
You couldn't move them. Cops can't move them anymore. Like there's nothing you can do, and that'll go back to the mental health thing we were addressing. Because we don't address it, you have more youth and kids on the street that basically gave up on life already.
Yeah.
Because there's no drive, and that's also part of the moral fiber of society, the backbone of a family, and all that kind of stuff that we kind of forget about now. Like it doesn't matter, and and when it does though, like if you believe in that stuff, which I do, there's nothing more important than a strong family. Like even if your parents are divorced, they're working together, making a strong family. Like you have to have that because life's hard, man. And when you don't have support in general, which millions of people don't. So I feel
someone
bad.
telling you the truth.
Yes.
Like not being nice, but telling you what you need to hear.
For sure.
No one does that anymore. You can't say what you want to say without someone crying and running and scared, It's
like I'm not much of a sugarcoater. Like when I'm coaching kids, I'm not the lollipop coach. No. Like I'm going to tell you how it is. Like that's just how, because life's not everyone does get a lollipop, so I don't believe that. Like you have to work hard to get what you want, and
when you win, you should win.
Yeah, and yes, it always helps to know people to get your foot in the door in certain situations. But what do you do after that? What do you do with those opportunities? Is what is inside of you. And my stepdad raised me my whole life, and just amazing human being that gave me drive. Like I don't ever believe anything can stop me from doing what I need to achieve. I don't give a fuck
He lit
what
the
it
fire.
is.
He lit the fire.
Yes, and we live by this mentality in my family. It's called "Who holds you down," and it's literally 4 words. And if you think about it, because I was a wrestler growing up, my whole family was. If you think about it, it doesn't just apply to sports. It applies to everything you do in life. Like if you just, that comes down to the failure thing. Like the only thing that really holds you down is yourself. You can't finger point and be like, well, this guy didn't do this. This person didn't give me this. No, motherfucker. Like, look yourself in the mirror.
Yeah, no one's holding you back.
And you have to push to work to get what you want. And like, we're playing in a band that the odds were stacked a gazillion to 1 against you, and we never stopped believing. It didn't matter that there wasn't anybody there, because those security guards and the bartenders told someone, and next time we went back, there was 10 people there. And it still didn't matter because those 10 motherfuckers raged so hard that it was worth driving 5 hours to get there.
Yeah.
And like, that's the kind of mentality that we don't have as a society. And I feel like if we did, it would just change a lot of things, because we live in such a woes me right now. Like, I hate that shit. Like, the woes me mentality drives me fucking nuts. Like, I can't stand it. Like, I just want like everyone to realize there is something for them. Like everybody, it's your drive.
What's the 4 words?
Who holds you down?
Who holds you down? I love it. And it's true. Every successful person I have met in my life has the same mentality. It's like, quit whining and do what you want. The process.
Yeah.
No one really, in sports, you always like, enjoy the process, enjoy the process. That you enjoyed the hard times, and that's why you became successful. It's when you complain about the process is when you're never going to make it in life. The hard stuff is the stuff you got to enjoy. Like, that's why athletes, when they're working out, doing the stuff to get good at stuff, that they have to enjoy that, or you're going to wake up going, I'm not doing that shit anymore.
Sure.
You know?
And an athlete too, what's funny is like, when you're a fan of pro sports, you get pissed when, someone just sucks on the field.
It has a bad game.
But what you don't realize is even that worst player on that team is better than anybody
in the world.
In the world. You know what I mean? Except for that, you suck.
And you're like, dude, this is one of the best athletes in the world.
You know what I mean?
He missed the ball.
Even though like because I'm a fan too, so you're like, fuck, bro, you're blowing it tonight.
You're blowing it.
But there's still literally like the baseball player that hits $150 is still better than everybody
in the whole world.
And that's what's so funny is because those guys are like a chosen, just like anything, musicians, anything like athletes. They're like a part of this elite group of craziness that it's amazing. Whether you're surfing, you know what I mean? Like it's like you're part of this group that even when you have a shitty day, like you've still accomplished. Those guys that are making $100 million, or even the guy that's making $1 million. The guy making $1 million is fucking awesome, even though he sucks.
Like the other night at the Padres, this guy said a stat, and he goes, "Baseball is the biggest sport of failure." And I was like, "Huh? What are you talking about?" And he goes, "The best player hits the ball 3 times out of 10."
Yes.
He goes, 7 times he fucked up. He's screwed up.
Isn't that
and
crazy?
you're like, yeah, I guess you're right, huh? The best guy in the world hits it 3 times out of 10. You would think like those 7 times he'd want to quit. But that's just part of the game, is fucking screwing up.
It is nuts.
Yeah.
Literally, where we celebrate.
He hit it once tonight.
I was literally having this conversation with like my kids' team just about that, where you're like, dude, there's like literally these guys make 20 million, and he'll give up 10 runs because sometimes your pitchers don't do what they need to do. I'm like, stop.
Bummed out. You missed one shot.
The funniest thing though is the girls will be like, yeah, but at least he's rich.
Oh my God. But all he wants is to get that strikeout. He's like, dude, I know I have all that money, but dude, I just blew it tonight.
Yeah.
You're so hard on yourself because failing is not an option, because you want to just succeed. But you want to feel good about yourself.
Yes, but you to me, like you have
fail.
to fail, because then you understand it and then you push yourself to succeed.
You don't want to do it again. You don't want to fail after you fail once. You're like, I hate to do better
in anything. Like life in general, like, yes, you're going to lose in certain things, but I literally...
We just won the other day.
That's right.
We just won a golf tournament the other day.
Oh, epic.
The first time I've ever won one of those fucking things.
It didn't hurt that we had 2 guys that literally...
were so good.
They averaged 310 off the tee. So,
so cool.
all we had to hit was irons, basically, because I max out at like 270 tops, and these guys were still 40, 45 yards past you.
And this one guy hit it in, not to golf geek out, but he hits this shot 170 yards, kind of lowballed it, ran up, and we go, and we couldn't find his ball. We're like, damn, all right. We start putting, and the guy goes, hey, who hit a TaylorMade? It was in the hole. The guy made it. Basically a hole in one.
An eagle on a par 4, which is really a par 4.
And then we saw David Blaine.
2.
Yeah.
And then this guy, this magician, came on the next hole. It blew my mind.
This dude, there was a magician on there, and he's like, he would get a random person and guess your cell phone code just by your facial
Yeah, he go like
expressions.
this. He go,
Oh, one
okay.
of the people that can like read.
Yeah.
It's David Blaine, the mind reader. And then the craziest one is he goes like this with his phone. And I watched it, so I was real. And he goes, okay, give me a number, or give me 3 numbers, 682-571. And he's showing us he's doing it. And he just calls, and the first one went beep, beep. No, it wasn't a real number. Tried it again. This girl answers. He said, don't hang up, don't hang up. He goes, I just want you to think of a card. Don't hang up. And then we're all yelling in the background, this is real. He's a real magician. And the guy picked a 2 of clubs. It was a 2 of clubs.
2 of clubs.
And he goes, and this lady is talking. She goes, okay, I'll do it, whatever. And he goes, okay, just think of one card. Okay, now think about it for a minute. Okay, now tell me. And she goes, 2 of clubs. Dude, I almost ran to my car and got the fuck out.
Yeah,
I was
it
so
was
pissed.
nuts.
I was like, how did that just happen?
Or the $100 signed in the lemon in the center. Like, this guy signed a lemon. I gave him a $100 bill, and this dude signed it with a Sharpie and did all this stuff.
He stabbed
and he
the
goes
bag,
and
remember?
stabs a bag full of lemons, takes the lemon out, cuts it in half, and this 100 is buried in this lemon. Like
his 100.
My 100.
Yeah.
And we're standing right here, and there's nothing we're seeing where he could physically stick this thing in.
And it was his 100 with his little signature. He wrote on it.
It was
That's
pretty
crazy.
crazy. It
So
was
that was my first time seeing it live, and I always watch him on TV, and I'm like, there must be some trickery. I can't believe it. All 3 he nailed too.
That was nuts.
He's like, you're 5, 6, and he opened the guy's phone.
Dude,
The
he'd
guy's
be
like,
so
"Holy
fun
shit."
with like a
we
like
gotta
a
bring him
drinking
around.
party. Like
Just bring him to a barbecue.
Oh, my
Everyone's
God.
like, how did you bring David Blaine to your barbecue?
next thing you know, like everyone's bank accounts are empty.
No, he asked him for $100, and he's like, I guess. And I was thinking he's gonna tear it up. That was fun. Well, like shit, dude. We can settle this podcast down to nothing, but that was a fun one. I really. And the cool thing is, we live so close together. We got to do this again. We'll bring Kyle in too, and one of them. It'd be so fun.
Yeah, that's great.
So talk about your tour real quick, because this thing comes out on Monday.
Yeah, we tour this year with Sublime with Rome, Atmosphere, and The Movement. It's gonna be great. We take off July 5th. It's like 30 something dates across the country.
America.
Yeah, just U.S. And then we're playing here in San Diego July 16th at Petco in the stadium. So it's going to be mental.
We're going to come to that.
It's going to be
What's
mental.
Your Cancun one is in July?
No, the Cancun one is December. That
That's
that one literally you'll never get in this year. It's sold out in
That's
one
so
day.
cool, though.
But next year I'll get you in there for sure.
No, that's so rad.
It's such an off the chain like event, and
you get a little wristband for food and drinks and everything.
Everything's inclusive. And but what's
insane.
rad is like they have a Brazilian churrascaria, like the full, and they have a
steak.
Japanese steakhouse. They have like this insane Mexican place that you'll order like pieces of pork that are on the bone that just fall off, like huge, like Flintstone sized meat, and just incredible stuff. And it's all inclusive.
How many days is it?
5 days.
And you guys play every day?
We play 3 shows.
Heavy. That's got to be the coolest thing.
Yeah,
ever.
it's really dope, and there's stages all over the resort, and it's massive, beautiful. The food, you think of all inclusive, the food's incredible, dude. And you could order any kind of alcohol you want. You're not just eating. You're not just drinking like shitty.
You don't have to drive anymore, so everyone just goes right to
everyone
their
stays
rooms.
there, and you can't go there unless you are part of
in
the
it.
event. Or else we have to pay like a certain amount. Sometimes we have friends that couldn't get in, and we'll pay for like a day pass for them, just because it's so nuts.
You can't miss it, yeah.
Yeah, and then like if you're down there, obviously like I'll give you like the pass that we have where you go to all the cool like artist lounges. When the main artist lounge overlooks the main stage. And a few years ago we had UB40 out there with us, and you're like listening to all your childhood.
I love
cuts
UB40.
going, oh my god, this is so good.
That's so fun.
Yeah, it's great, and we handpick the lineup every year. It's always your boys, and this lineup, I'll tell you the lineup.
I know. Is Stick Figure one of your guys' good friends?
Yeah,
That
they're
band's
awesome. They're great, man. They're good friends of ours, and
Are they Cali guys?
They are. Yeah, he lives in Scott lives in San Diego now.
Yeah, when I think of you guys, I think of Stick Figure a lot.
Yeah, man, they're awesome, dude. Good guys, and just their energy is amazing. They work hard and fun to party with. We've had some great tours together. And I was trying to. It says no internet connection over here. I couldn't get my Instagram to pull up, but it has our who's playing it Closer to the Sun. I just couldn't pull it up.
That's what it's called. Closer to the
Fucking
Sun.
technology, bro.
Honestly, well, keep us in the loop on if the championship's coming to town with the girls softball team.
Yeah, we actually play this weekend here at Robb Field in Ocean Beach.
That big field over there by the skate park?
Yep.
Rad.
Yeah, we play there Saturday and Sunday. Sunday's championship day, so it depends on what we do Saturday, where you rank and whatnot. But yeah, it's pretty rad.
What's the name of the team?
We go by the league name. We're usually called the Troublemakers. But in All Stars, you have to be
The Troublemakers coached by Slightly Stoopid.
We're usually called the Troublemakers, but in All Stars, our league name is Peninsula Breakers, so we go by the Breakers.
That's the name of my restaurant. That makes sense. Yeah. And his last name is my name. That's weird.
A lot of things are coming to fruition
here. A lot
here.
of things going on.
Brother!
Dude, that'd be so fun to find out that we're related down the road.
That'd be so fucking
That's so
funny.
weird.
Let me see if my cousin Chuck actually sent something back.
I have Ponto shoes that are coming your way, and we're giving them this board. Hopefully, if it's too thick, you can just tell me, but I think it'll be fun just to try out this one here. And then
I like it.
You like
to
it
me,
thick?
I like them thick and wide.
Oh, you're going to love this one.
Yeah.
This thing's going to float.
Like I have a sick old school Becker, like a 610 Becker.
Becker, I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Dude, it's old school board.
It's not like from you.
Yeah,
Where you from?
I was gonna say that one's like right where I live.
Manhattan.
Like
right?
the original Becker.
Yeah, that's where
Becker.
I got it from when
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
recording at Total Access
That's
up
it.
there.
I
We were
remember
recording
Becker.
Longest Barrel Ride. That's how long I've had this board. Since 98, I've had this board.
Heavy.
And
Board's as old as I am.
it's red. Oh, no shit. It's red. It still looks great. My kid surfs it now.
No way. That's rad.
Yeah, it's got like the red fucking streamers and everything.
Oh, that's so
super
cool.
dope. But yeah, I like the wide boards, like 21 inch, 22 inch wide.
This is you then all day long. It's a 40 liter. So you're gonna float like you're gonna SUP that thing.
Perfect. Because you get I like is that the dad bod one?
That's dad bod.
Yeah, because I love that name, dude.
Yeah.
When you said, "Hey, we got this one called the dad bod," I was like, I love that.
It's such a good word for us in our 40s. Do you have one more thing to say to our guests? I love that she has perfect notes and stuff. Yeah. All I do is just get drunk and try to be silly.
For sure, I could never do that either. I just roll with just ask away, and I'll go with you.
Oh yeah, I've got one more. That's I guess a good one to wrap up on. But if you were to go back to high school and you're kind of starting to do all this over again, what's the one thing you would tell yourself?
With the knowledge he has now?
Yeah. Could be deep advice, or it could be don't go to this show.
Microdose.
You should have done a lot more microdosing.
Why didn't we know about that? That was the one thing about mushrooms. Is we took so many when we first started doing it.
Well, you'd eat an eighth at a time.
And you're I don't want to do that shit anymore. But now when you microdose, you're a better human for it.
Dude, it is kind of funny how many people talk about microdosing too.
Moms and everybody. My sister and people that never take drugs.
Yeah, they were talking about it at the fucking golf tournament.
So true.
But I just remember when we were younger, we used to take acid. You know what I mean? And go to water parks, go surf.
So fun.
You lose your mind, you'd be going down the speed slide on 3 hits acid. You'd be like, wow!
So he doesn't need to tell his younger self anything because those were the best times ever.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't change anything because the chaos led to where we are today. We did a lot of stupid shit that, you could, I wish I didn't do that, but
so maybe you did it exactly the way you're supposed to.
Yeah, I think, first of all, your life always kind of lays out the way it's supposed to. Yeah, you wish you can maybe go back and, make a couple lefts instead of the rights or make a couple straights instead of the turns or whatever. But to me, I feel like we are who we are because of the mistakes that we did make. Yeah. So I feel like if I had to tell myself anything, I'd just say, fucking just go for it, bro. Yeah. Don't ever stop. You know what I mean? Nothing will ever get in your way as long as you keep believing. And I'm I'm a huge person about just believing in yourself and confidence and what you do affects people around you. So when you grasp that as far as what we do, it's awesome. You know what I mean? Because we've been on the road for so long and you're literally with your bros and just regular brothers, you don't always get along. You don't always, it's not always sunshine and rainbows like everyone thinks. Oh, you're on the road. It must be so fucking great. Yeah. It's some days you're but it's what you do and how you, kind of get up and react to certain things. So for me, it's just keep going for it always, and enjoy the ride.
Dude, I mean, you guys are still a band. A lot of guys break up after 5 years of touring. Yeah. You guys are still a band and still best friends. That shows your character.
No, it's crazy just because, like I said, it's just like anything, your brothers from other mothers and all your bandmates at this point, you're living with guys in tight, we don't get multiple buses for our band. We get one band bus. So we're all together. You know what I mean? You get one energy. Because I never really, I always thought that was kind of weird. You go on tour and bands are in all different buses and it's I don't know. There's something to be said about just,
staying
together. The guys together. And, if there's a shitty day, you're still stuck together. So you have to get through it.
I love that.
And no matter what, once you hit that stage, kind of, you can forget about all the bullshit in life and enjoy it. Like I said, it's at this age, it's so incredible just to do what we do. And, we're playing Petco. Growing up a Padre fan, we're playing in the stadium. There's probably going to be 25,000 people there, and it's going to be crazy, and it's and part of you is crying inside just because of it's so surreal. Amazing, and your whole life's been this crazy ride, and
your perspective is what makes you great. I can see it. You appreciate the process and you appreciate where you're at. A lot of people lose that when there's 20,000 people screaming and singing your songs. You're I guess I'm a god, and it's really, and it's really the perspective that you have is so good for your kids, and they're seeing you become such a big celebrity, but never changing, and that's probably so good for them.
Well, I think it's important just for your own brain. Like
yeah.
I can't, like, yes, like when you come home, it's like hitting the brakes on the freeway because you're when you go to a town and you're in a band, you basically own that venue for the night, like it's yours. Like we set a precedent. We have a security meeting, like all that kind of stuff. It's like our place. So and then there's a sense of lawlessness almost.
Yeah.
And then you get home and
can't use the bathroom.
You remember that your wife runs the ship at the house, and your opinion is not as important as it was when you were just playing in front of 10,000 people because those 4 people at the house are like, get the fuck out of there.
You become one of those guys where they call them the runners.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, what do I got to do? She's like, clean the yard, do this, that. And you're like, okay, I'll be back.
Which is that's just
humbling,
part
it's
of it,
so
and
good.
it's what also keeps you normal. Like it's super easy to. Don't get me wrong. Like it's super easy to go mental in this world that we live in. Like I could totally, if I didn't have a family at home, I would never come home.
You'd live in TJ.
But you know what I mean? This is such a great job. I would never come home.
Yeah.
Like it's just,
100%.
there's no, if I was, like I said, without a family and that kind of grounding at home, dude, this is the greatest shit ever. Because you could just travel the world, throw in a few shows, be in some rad place, go to another rad place, throw in a few shows,
and just bronze and Speedos and play acoustic.
And right before the whole like shutdown, we were in Brazil for a month, and it was rad. Like we were there till like February, and then all of a sudden in March, we were like, "What the fuck's going on here?"
Oh, you were there! Wow.
And so it was just cool to, that first of all, that country has so much amazing culture. Like it gets it's so funny. Like every time like, oh, I'm going to Brazil. Oh, you need to be so careful. I was like, I've been in the craziest favelas in Brazil. Cool, and when you're with the right people, you're fine. Like I could take you to Southeast San Diego and tell you don't go there at night. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I could take you to places all over San Diego where you don't go at night.
Totally.
And it's the same thing anywhere. You're in a big city.
And who you're with is so important
of course.
When you travel.
But like, that view that you have of Rio, and it's from one of the favelas up there. And we went to the craziest place. And because we were with the right people, like it didn't matter. Yep. Like they embraced us. We had drinks. We're sitting there just cruising. And then when we told someone we went there, like, are you kidding me?
Right.
I can't believe you went there. It's the craziest place. You're just like,
did you have your watch on? Like shit like that.
I was like, you got to turn off the news and go experience life a little bit because yes, there is crazy ass shitty places in the world because just mankind, there's a lot of assholes, but there's also a lot of rad culture everywhere. Yeah. Even in the place you think you hate the most, there's rad culture there.
So true.
And that's what we forget. Like you always pin stuff to like the assholes of the world and forget about the beauty, which is what makes the world rad. Like instead of focusing on the shit.
And the news only focuses on the terror.
It's such a cancer of society. Like I just hate it, and I wish like that's another thing. Like you just like, even though like we're doing all this cool shit with everything, and like there's the essence of like you have to put this down though and still enjoy life, you know, and remember that fuck man, like you got to surf for a living. I got to play music for a living. Like get to hang out. Like it's we're so Wednesday lucky. Or Tuesday, Wednesday. It's Wednesday and we're sitting here doing this shit. And it's
exactly. And the only thing you got to worry about is your daughter's getting their next meal and giving you hugs.
For sure.
I mean, that's really all that matters. You just want them to hug you and eat dinner and look at your eyes and say, hey, daddy.
What's funny is though, as they get older, the hugs go away a little more.
Yeah,
they're like, oh, dad, come on. I don't want to like cuddle. I'm just like, remember when we used to just cuddle, and like chill, watch a movie on the couch.
You still have one in that age gap. Though, right?
Yeah.
She's
my 6-year-old.
6-year-old.
And she's a snuggler, and I love it.
What's her name?
Callista.
Callista?
Yeah,
I love that.
They're all C's. I have Cadence, Karis, and Callista.
Callista's a really neat name. Well, is that kind of Portuguese?
Callista? I don't know which. I don't remember if she got the meaning from the Portuguese version of it or not. There's each kid, like Cadence is rhythm, Karis is love, and Callista is like beautiful person.
Jeez.
So it's cool, and they're all C's. My wife was all J's. She's one of 3 sisters, and so
do you have brothers and sisters?
Do I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have 9.
What is happening?
Yeah, we have a lot.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
It's rad. I'm the
they
second.
all come to the concerts and love you?
Yep.
Oh, that must be so cool.
Yeah, we have a really cool family, and it's great, and I have one older brother, and then everyone else is younger than us. It goes 47 to 23.
Oh, wow. So your parents went through
it's
20 years of kids.
It's a whole nother it's just great though. Like big family is awesome. We've always had, and the Portuguese have a huge family too. So everything.
Dude, your guys' family.
Yeah, it's
outings.
great. Like it's really cool, and all the functions, and family is everything. In all honesty, like it's like, you know, some people have big families, some people have small families, but you just have to embrace it. You know what I mean? And that's what it is.
Dude, you got everything going in the right direction, man. I'm proud of being your friend, and this is so fun. Thanks so much for being on the
Thanks for having
Poddy.
me, bro. That was
really
awesome.
Hey, you guys get ready to see Slightly Stoopid this summer, because it seems like you guys, your genre too, especially, is like a summer thing, right?
Yeah,
Winter, you're like, I'm good. I'm just gonna put a wetsuit on and hang with my family. But summertime, it's on.
Yeah,
You guys are
we used
summer.
to always tour in the winter, like all of the ski towns, just because, you know, it was just a rad thing to do. But man, I really love just
summertime.
summer, you know, warm water, warm weather, you know, everyone's out in, like, you know, their bathing suits, even at shows. It's just like a different energy, you know what I mean? And
Yeah, you guys had beach balls that one I went to, and it was fucking fun.
sometimes that gets a little intense. We've put too many out one time where you're just like, fuck, bro,
I
stop
know.
kicking those things.
And do the people ever get on stage and give you guys hugs and try to sing with you and stuff?
Yeah,
Probably all
yeah.
the
Sometimes people get a little too aggressive where you have to have security, like,
Yeah.
hey, bro, like, you're gonna
because you
knock
guys are so relaxed. It seems like if I ran out there, I'd be like, I can sing with them, and like get tased.
Yeah, you won't get tased, but our guys now, just because of the way the world is, they kind of do a quick escort off, you know, just because we've had a guy, a few years back, a guy actually jumped off the stage and broke a fan's neck, landed on, and that was kind of the last, when that happened, we stopped letting people do stage dives and things, because it was like a guy your size did a stage dive
And landed on
he landed on a small girl. Like, she was a woman, but small.
Oh, sad.
And, you know, it just...
Caught up in the moment.
Yeah, and he wasn't trying to hurt anybody, but just being an idiot, jumping, which I love stage dives.
I know.
It just, he happened to be a little too big to do it, and you know, when he broke someone's neck, we were just kind of like, all right,
that's enough of that.
Because we're also, you know, we take out insurance every year at every show we play, just because we live in a funny, sue happy world, and we're liable for part of that. And if it wasn't like a big fan, we could have been sued as well. And like, so you're just kind of like, the risk outweigh the...
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, thank you so much, buddy.
Hey, bro.
And good
Appreciate
luck.
it, man.
Good luck this summer with all the stuff, and let's cheer for the breakers. Wait, what is
the troublemakers?
The troublemakers.
But yeah,
let's everyone get behind the troublemakers this weekend. Hope they crush it, and let's hang soon. Let's go golf.
Yeah, let's do it.
Me and him golf. We like it.
Yeah, man. And if you get me a cool picture of your pops, I'll dedicate the show in San Diego to him. I'll put him up on the big screen.
He's right up there. That football. He played for the Raiders, Atlanta Falcons.
Oh, really?
See him up there.
That's rad.
Not the David Hasselhoff photo, but next to it.
It wasn't David? Yeah. Dad?
He's up there with a football jersey. No, I appreciate it. That song is going to mean a lot to me forever.
Yeah.
And miss you, James, already. Love you, buddy.
We love you.
All right. Have a good one. Love you guys. Let's potty later.